I hope you guys can still hear me, but yeah, my husband was saying that no matter how, how much I asked for it, that he would always tell the nurses no, that, he didn't want me to have the epidural, or, I didn't want it, or just tell me to hold off on it, or whatever. And I guess he saw how much pain I was in, how strong the contractions were. He knew I wouldn't be able to last, all the way until the baby was born. So, he just told me that it was okay for me to get the epidural. Like, I don't know. He was just like, do you want it? If you want it, get it. And I was like, I don't want it. I don't want it. And I was in so much pain, saying like, come on, isn't there something else you guys could give me? Like something else other than the epidural? Like just anything else. I don't care. And then they were saying like they could give me a shot that it's like the epidural, but it just lasts for like 3 hours. And they said that they wouldn't suggest giving me that because I don't know. I think by that time I was dilating pretty quickly. I was already like at probably 5 centimeters. And they're like, that on Pitocin you dilate every 2 hours. Or you dilate a centimeter every 2 hours or 2 centimeters every hour. I don't know. I don't remember. But so they were saying that soon enough I would probably be having the baby. So they said that 3 hours just it like they didn't want it to be to where like right before I had the baby they would have to give me another one, and I would be having like too much contractions and they wouldn't be able to give it to me or something. I don't remember, but yeah, so they didn't want to give me the shot. So basically they were giving me an option and then they took it away from me. It was pretty pointless, but they said like I asked them like could I get the one in the IV, and they're like, well, the doctor didn't mention anything about that, so I don't think it's an option. And I was just like, are you serious? Just because the doctor didn't like bring it up like that means it's not an option? Like, can you ask him? And I guess they just never did. Like, I was just like, whatever, give me the epidural, and I want it now. Like, I want it now, like right now, because I was crying and I was like, oh my god. And she was like doing stuff on the computer. She was like, okay, well, we're gonna go tell the anesthesiologist. And so they hadn't even told him yet, so that means he wasn't even set up. He wasn't nothing. Like I wasn't gonna get it anytime soon. So I was really getting pissed off, and I was like screaming, and I was telling him to hurry up, like they need to hurry up. And they ended up getting the anesthesiologist. I got the epidural. I was crying during the epidural, and the nurse, she was a very, very, very sweet lady. She reminded me of like somebody in my family. She made me feel at home, like like she made me feel good and comfortable. And she was telling me just to breathe, that it's all gonna be worth it. And she was helping me with the epidural because I was shaking too much, like, and I was really scared that like he was gonna put it somewhere he wasn't supposed to, and I was gonna be paralyzed. So she kind of helped me through that. She helped me. I was crying, and he was like, I haven't even done anything to you yet, and you're crying. And I was like, because I'm still having contractions, man. Like, why are you even telling me this stuff? So then, yeah, he did it, and honestly, it all you feel is a pinch, and you feel like pressure in your back. And honestly, that just kind of freaked me out. I think that's why I was crying, and it just really freaked me out. I was crying so bad, and I I don't know. I just turned into the Exorcist. I was sweating and I looked terrible, and I didn't care. I was like butt naked. I didn't even care about anything. I didn't want the gown on, and they were telling me, "Well, let's put this back on." I was like, I don't want it on. I don't want nothing on. I'm hot. I don't want anybody touching me." And yeah, I was telling you that they would lose the baby on the monitor, and then they would find him, and then I would get up and change positions because I would have contraction. They would like go underneath my stomach and say, "Okay, let me see if we can get it from here." And I felt so bad because, you know, I was making their job harder. So, yeah, I got the epidural, and my husband had to leave the room when I got it. I never really heard about that, but he left the room and he came back and he said that I look like a brand new person. It was like The Exorcist before and after, and he said he walked in. He was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yes, I'm okay." He's like, "You feel better?" And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. I feel so much better. I'm floating on clouds right now. I didn't feel anything. I could still feel myself, but I didn't feel anything. I didn't know about them having to put a catheter in you. And so that part kind of like messed with me. Like, I was pretty shocked. And they put a catheter and I couldn't walk, and I was just floating on clouds, man. And they told me, and I was already like falling asleep, like, because it felt so I felt so good after feeling so bad, and it was just this relief. It was just, oh, it was amazing. And I was so sleepy because I woke up like at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I had only gotten like an hour of sleep. I was hungry and I was just ready to pass out, you know. And they brought me food, and I was honestly too tired to even eat. And they brought me food, and they said, "You know what time it is?" And I said, "Nap time?" And they said, "Yeah, you're right." So they said, because they don't know how long I might be in labor, so they said, "Go ahead and take a nap, because, you know, you never know. It could be a really long night." So I took a nap for like an hour probably, and then I just kept sleeping and sleeping, and then the lady that we live with got there, and we're just talking or whatever, and supposedly the baby's heartbeat had like went down, and that like kind of scared them, and they said that they need to get the baby out right then and there. And I was like dilated at an 8 already, and they said that the baby wasn't low enough to come out, so that I needed to have a C-section. And right when he said those words, I was like, oh my god. I started crying and crying and crying and crying and like having a panic attack, and I didn't want my wrist to be restrained, and I didn't want to be restrained, and all this nonsense. And the nice lady, she said, you know, just relax. She was just trying to calm me down. And the lady we live with too, she was trying to calm me down. And you know, the nurse was saying that she would stay with me as much as she could, like for the beginning of it at least, because she was about to clock out. And the lady we live with, her name is Dina, she was trying to calm me down. And my husband, I guess he was kind of freaking out. He didn't know what to do. And so she talked to the doctor, and she was saying, you know, are you saying that there's like no other choice? And he was like, well, we could wait, but you're putting a risk. He said, as long as the baby's heartbeat doesn't go down again, then, you know, everything's fine. And he said, the only risk you're putting is on yourself, because my cervix was swelling. So he was like, yeah, I think you're just gonna have to make a decision. You know, we could wait. He said, but I'll wait until 9 o'clock. I think it was like 5, you know. It was earlier than that. So it was 3, about to be 4, I believe, because they said, you know, 6 hours should be enough. I will come back and check at 9. 6 hours should be enough time for you to dilate, you know, especially on Pitocin. And then, I guess since I was, like, already dilated at the 8, they broke my waters. They took me off Pitocin, and, I think that's where they messed up, to be honest with you, because after that I stopped dilating. And they just, you know, let me do whatever I had to do in my own body. And they told me that time was kind of running out, that I wasn't progressing enough. So by the time like 9 came, I told them I wanted to wait till 12. And by the time 12 came, the baby's heartbeat had went down again, and there was no choice after that. So I had to have a C-section. And at that point, I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want anything to do with anyone. I didn't want anybody to talk to me. But I had to consent, so all I did was shake my head, yes, like whatever. I mean, I know you're supposed to do whatever you can to help your baby or whatever, but I was just pretty upset, that they didn't. I felt like there was something that they can do, but who knows? Maybe I was just being selfish. So yeah, I had to go into. They prepped me up for surgery, and I wasn't crying. I just wasn't even talking to anybody, and Jerry was pretty excited because the baby was going to come out, but he was pretty bummed that I was going to have a C-section and have to take the baby out like that. And so I went into surgery, and Jerry wasn't in there for a while, and then they called him in